Hello, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful platform of debriefing zone for people with autism and learning disabilities. You are most welcome. Hello, Anna. How are you today?
Eric, I'm really great today. Thank you for asking. Hi everyone, I'm so glad to be here today. Thank you for joining this new episode of the Briefing Zone for Autism and Learning Disabilities. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's get started. Welcome to the briefing zone for autism and learning disabilities. Today, I'm so happy we have a really special guest. We have Lynda Jones, which is she's really specialized in EFT, but I'm gonna let her introduce herself. But the subject that she has today is really interesting because it's a really new research and a new therapy that is used in Canada, and she's one of the main character in bringing that therapy in Europe, which is why I'm so excited about having her today. The title and the theme of the podcast today will be matrix reprinting. So first, we're gonna go a little bit more with Lynda and have her introduce herself. Hi, Lynda. How are you doing today?
Hi, Lynda. I'm good, thank you. And you?
I'm great, thank you.
To start with, I live in France. I've been living in Dubai, and all these years, I built up to be specialized in matrix reprinting, which I represent in France and in UAE. It is fast therapy, but also include in my resources EFT, emotional freedom technique, which are, if you want to compare it to other mainstream therapies, if you're doing 36 sessions with a normal psychologist, well, the session with matrix reprinting will be representing 6.
Okay, so let's actually go a little bit more in details about and define matrix reprinting for people who don't really know about it. So my first question for you, if I have to define, what is matrix reprinting for you?
Matrix reprinting, first of all, is based on tapping on the meridian point onto the body. It's based on the acupuncture. But the difference between the EFT and matrix is going to more deeper. EFT will reduce the intensity of the emotion related to any traumatic event. So if you have an event, let's take it when you were a little child, you have developed a belief, and normally a negative belief. So what matrix does is going into that memory and trying to change that picture, which we do hold on, unfortunately, and changing into a positive belief, and then using it as a reference into your present and future time.
Okay, so pretty much you're just saying, if I can summarize what you just said, would be everything that happened to a person as an adult, the way we actually function, have a lot to do with the way we were brought up as a child. Is that it?
Pretty much, yes. Because as a children, your cortex has not developed until the age of 6. So you are not having the chance to reflect and be objective on anything happen. So when a children, if a mom is shouting to stop a child from jumping into the swimming pool, the child is not going to think, oh, my mom is trying to protect me. The child is literally going to program it as, oh, my mom is being mean to me.
Because she's yelling at the child, yeah.
And that's it. It's recorded as it is. So we can have the best parents in the world, but still, unfortunately, between 0 and 6, and even before, whatever happens is taken literally as it is, and not taken as in a positive way as we would as an adult, because we're using our logical brain.
Okay, so how does it really work?
So how it works is extremely simple. Matrix is it's another field of energy. So what we do as a memory is we have those memories that has a picture, and those pictures exist in those energetic field. So
I'm sorry, actually, we got cut off a little bit. You said those pictures exist in
the energetic field.
Okay.
So when we have recorded those images, we are trying to connect into our younger self. And that's what we call in Matrix our echo. And that's what we refer to.
Okay.
And so that's the younger self who did not have the support when the event took place. So we are there, us as an adult, giving the support to the younger self and changing the belief which has taken place a few years back.
So can somebody who actually have, because my next question would be, what would be like pretty much the different areas where you can actually use that? So meaning, what is it effective for? Example, if you have like a trauma or if you have like anxiety, we actually really see a lot of people right now in our field, especially with going on with the pandemic, who have like lots of stress and everything. What would be the different areas where you can actually use those type of therapy?
Well, we like that because this is the latest class therapy, and I'm not saying that, but having the feedback from the client coming to see me, they have tried everything, and honestly, this is the only therapy which actually is fast and effective on most of the things. So that could be depression, huge anxiety, big trauma, small trauma, relationship with food, like bulimia or anorexia, phobia, allergy, failure in school, even kids, or relationship. So the list is so long that I can't, list them all.
Yeah, I totally understand. So pretty much right now, so you can use it like with what I call, and I know like our viewers can really like see me, but I'm actually like coding by most of people who know me, like know that I'm usually using those hand signals by saying, is it something that you can apply to normal population? And then I'm coding by saying what people will consider somebody without any like mental issues. Is it also something that you can use with people who have like autism or ADHD? That's one of the questions that I have, like who will be like the target population that you're working with?
So normally the matrix, it is to be used for children above 6 years old. Okay. But what happened is, because in matrix you can work by I would say in French, surrogate. So a mom can work for her younger child who is maybe 2 years old. A mom who's carrying a baby can work as well on the baby she carries. So it's accessible to anybody. Also, so to answer to your question, having worked with moms and children with autism, so it can be worked on the parents, because it's quite stressful sometimes. There is difficult times where the child is on crisis. So you can use it on the parents to calm down the emotions, because it's quite emotional. But also we can use it on the children with autism, when they're not well, it's calming their brain. So accessible to everybody, because when we are high on emotion, the amygdala in your brain is extremely activated. So when you do the tapping, then you are calming the amygdala. If the amygdala is calmer, everything is calm. Into order.
That's actually really, I'm really glad that you actually mentioned the amygdala, because we know it's a really like important region, especially with people with mental disorders, autism. So yeah, that will be one of the areas that all as a behavior therapist, we're always trying to target in our program will be like calming, because we know that a lot of the those population have a lot of disruptive like behaviors. So when you mean like calming, will be, can we actually use that to target? Let me give you an example. Will be like, let's say we have a child who have a hard time responding to instructions. So when the parents are actually like calling him or ask him to do something at home, he has a hard time responding like appropriately to his parents, and we have the same example that he's doing at school. How would you target that using like matrix reprinting?
Okay. In that situation, when the child is not responding, and if he is on a high level emotion, just for that moment, I will not be using matrix reprinting. I'll be using EFT just to calm down, just to come into the tolerant moments, you know, where the parents can communicate, and they don't have to do it directly on the child. They can just surrogate and do it directly on them, and actually it's affecting as well positively on the child.
So why would you use EFT compared to matrix reprinting in that example?
Okay, for children with autism, if we know that some kids had traumatic moment or extremely difficult time, well, it is traumatic, so, and you don't want it to be crystallized in the brain because it's affecting the behavior. Yeah, it's affecting the physical part of the body. So that's where using matrix reprinting through the parents, because with the child with the autism, it will be difficult to be done. But I'll be using EFT when I'm in the moment, when something is happening and I need to bring down that emotion, the intensity of the emotion.
So if I really kind of like compare both techniques, EFT will be easier for like an autistic person and an autistic child to comprehend and to use for like for behavior therapists to use during their session, compared to matrix reprinting, where it's a little bit more complex. So right there, the training will have to start with the adults who will be around that diagnosed person. Is that it?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So when we're talking, since it's new, and I know a lot of our viewers today are pretty much doesn't really know, like myself, I had to learn a little bit about this topic. But I was just wondering, is it like research proof? Is it something that we I mentioned France, where you actually like went back this year, and you actually, I know, provide some of the some consultation over there. And I know you told me, because we spoke prior, that you actually do provide to some classes at the university. Is it something that right now we can say is like research proof? Is it scientific like base? Is it something that we can recognize in the psychology field, or is it something that we still trying to put out there? You know what I mean?
I have to say, I'm pushing really hard this in France, but in Australia, in England, in the States, it is well known and well used. Why would you say it's a little bit behind France? It's just because of the language barrier.
Okay.
Obviously, the founder of the therapy is from England. So, and all the information is obviously in English, and not everyone is able to translate it. So if it is based, proven, yes, it is, because Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is a doctor in genetic and cells, has given many conferences and have done many studies, for example, to show how metrics, how a negative belief affects our everyday life and our future, physically, mentally, our decisions, and how by changing into a positive belief, it changes even our cells.
Okay.
So,
so what you mean by changing self will be like, if just let me just go with what you just said, because I really like the term like changing yourself, because we really all like trying to evolve, especially in this time right now. So when you mean changing, let's say that an adult was like living all his 42 years by waking up every day and yelling to his children in the morning. I might know it's a quiet example, but by yelling before saying hi, how you doing, right there we know that he's putting some damage, some mental damage to those child. So is this something that after 42 years you feel like you can have that that client in your office, and you can actually change that behavior, especially when it lasted that long?
Yes, because maybe, I'm just following your example. Maybe that person waking up in the morning triggers something in him. Something is probably resonate from the past. And the brain, the subconscious, doesn't know that, hey, this is the present, it's not the past anymore. So the subconscious keep giving the same information, saying, well, you're in the same situation, when actually in the reality, he's not. But keep responding the same way when that behavior started. So you go into the subconscious, you go and find, where did this start? And you change that belief. When that belief is changed into a positive way, then that morning will be, since we have worked on it into a positive morning, then that person, when he wakes up, it's a nice morning, it's a positive morning. But it doesn't only work on behavior, it works as well on body pain. So I'll give you an example. I had a lady from San Francisco who's been having a pain on her hip. It will be her left hip for years, and she's 44. Just working on the hip, just following the pain, the subconscious brought the image of her being a baby. And we know how babies sometimes kick in the tummy. And she's been kicking. So while she was a baby, she was kicking her mom. But consciously, she knows, because her mom always blamed her for kicking her hip while she's carrying her. So she created that belief and self-punishing herself. So she ended up carrying that pain as well of her mother. And the day we changed that image, we changed that belief, just at the end of the session, she was saying, I can't believe I feel something on my legs. Well, obviously, the pain is gone, that I can confirm. But it just shows the cells in the body got regenerated and the pain was gone.
Well, how many sessions you usually work with a person like that? Like, is it like a year, like 6 months?
Well, honestly, it really depends about what we want to work on.
Okay.
It's like an onion, you're peeling the layers. But like I said at the beginning, the mainstream of the, the psychology or the therapy, whatever you do, 36 sessions in Matrix and EFT, we just do 6. So it's extremely fast. And that's the reason, people are realizing this is the way to go.
So I've read a little bit about, I don't know if you're familiar with him, Karim Nader.
Yes.
I don't know if you know his work, but I like one of his quotes where he was saying that pretty much matrix reprinting would be a way to say that we are rewriting our memories. So that actually kind of like goes with the example that you just gave with the woman in San Francisco, because right there you went all the way until her being unborn and being in her mother like stomach. So right there, do you feel like should we start education in a different way, meaning that we have to, while the woman is pregnant, we have to start right there educating our children? I see that you're nodding, but like, do you know what I mean by that?
I mean, if we can start with the mother who start just wishing to have a child, that will be amazing. Then, obviously being guided during her pregnancy, during the birth, then we'll have a better future. Our children will be a better adult and we'll have a better world. But that example is the example I gave you from San Francisco. Like, we can rewrite our memories. I can give you an example. 2 days ago, I had this lady who she said to me, I'm so tired. I never have time for myself. I'm always taking care of everybody and I feel responsible for everybody. And I feel so sad when I don't do it right. And it's never good enough. It's never right enough. So what we do is we went into the subconscious, and then what was the image coming into her was her younger self, 7 years old, who lost her best friend. Her best friend got run over by a car. So the day she found out she lost her friend, she made a decision that it was her fault because she didn't protect her friend. And today, she's working in the police. Protection, being there for people. But obviously, she's overdoing it.
Because she's actually trying to go over the lack of what happened to her when she was younger. So right there, she feels a little bit guilty, of course. So even the choice. So that's actually you totally understood my question, even if I didn't phrase it correctly, because right there, what I can see with that woman is from the experience that she has in her childhood, pretty much decide with the way her life will be the way she will be living her life. Because even the professional choice is always relating to something that she have to protect, and making sure that she's actually combining with the lack of that emotional distress that she had with her friend dying when she was younger. So you feel like is this something that that's matrix reprinting? Is it something that we should incorporate in school? Just say in preschool or something like that?
It's very interesting. Sorry. I know in the school, in France, definitely, and most, in UAE as well, there is emotional support for children. And I think those people who have that status in the school should have that resource, because it's effective. It's lovely to be there and listen to the child, but it's not enough. it doesn't change anything. You just feel good. That's great. And that's, you know, essential, but it's not enough. It will never create any change. So like for this lady, we went into that image, changed it so that her younger self doesn't feel guilty, doesn't feel responsible. So when she comes out, she did come out of that picture. I asked her, so what is your belief now? She said, well, I have a job to be done. I'm here for a short time, but I'm not responsible for other people's problem. So if those kids at school probably can introduce EFT, because children can do it on themselves.
So do you feel, so right now you see we can introduce to children. I interrupt you, but because you were talking about EFT. So my thing is like, I really want to make sure that we all, like who are listeners today, understand the difference between EFT and matrix reprinting. Because for me, at this level, I just feel like it's still the same technique that is used in both ways. Okay, you're actually shaking your head, so go ahead.
All right, I'm going to interrupt you now. Okay.
Please do.
Let's have an example. I can, for example, give you an example of those. I had somebody who had to go through the trauma of the attack in London 5 years ago. Yeah, next the bridge. So what you do is you do EFT, which is tapping directly on our body right here, right now. Okay, with eyes open, to calm down the intensity of emotion towards that event. Okay, but that event have created a belief, a negative belief. I'm unsafe. So that teenager, anywhere where he was traveling or going, anything was similar, what the brain might think it's similar, it triggered the same behavior, reaction at that first initial event. So that's where we go into the matrix and change that belief so that person doesn't have that sensation of being constantly unsafe, but using a positive belief as a reference. So EFT is calming down the intensity of the emotion. Matrix is transforming that belief created on that event. Two different things.
Okay.
Did I answer?
Yeah, you kind of answer, and I kind of like use as an image. I think everybody kind of like know this movie, like The Matrix, the evolution, the movie, like, because when you actually like saying you're going into the matrix, for me, like it will be like that movie, that would be the only like picture that I can really like relate to. So is that it?
Well, it's pretty much like, because it's based on the quantum physics.
Okay.
Metric quantum physics. And all around us, we have an energy field where images, memories are standing there. And then we go into those energy field to change the memories.
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, so pretty much for somebody clueless like me, EFT would be more like helping the person relate, kind of like going closer to her emotions. And then the matrix is actually knowing where the emotion is coming from, what happened to trigger that emotion. Is that it? Okay.
And it's transforming, which is important. With the EFT, when you reduce the intensity of the bad emotion, let's say I have fear towards this. So I reduce the intensity, but I'm not really making it disappear. It can be still there, and I'm still have a reaction to whatever I'm feeling scared of. But when you go into metrics, you're totally reducing the fear because you're changing the relation of what I think this thing is making me scared. So I'm transforming, not to be scared anymore. So my reactions, let's say I have a phobia of, of snakes. That intensity of that fear towards snakes with EFT. But then with metrics, I go and try to find out where that came from, and then I will change that belief. And then you come out of it, and then suddenly you think, oh, I might have a pet.
Yeah. So for me, I really like that example with the snake, Lynda, because right there, as a behavior therapist, I feel like how we can use it in a session will be to start with the child by using EFT to calm down the behavior that we're actually trying to correct. And then from there, when we're going into parenting training and explaining a little bit more about applied behavior therapy, that's where we're actually targeting the behavior deeper, because we are trying to figure out why that behavior is actually existing and what we can actually, and why the person relates to that behavior, and then transform that behavior. So I feel like it's a process. There is really no EFT without matrix reprinting, what I mean? Because
2 points. Sometimes you don't require to do EFT. You can go straight into metrics. It's really case by case. Parenting, unconsciously, every single parent, including myself, we are transferring whatever we have carried from our past into our children unconsciously. So this is how it is important for all the parents to work on themselves, to be in peace with their past and changing whatever negative belief into positive belief. What is the best gift you can give to your children?
Okay, so I'm not gonna go further in details. Like I feel like you definitely explained the subject, and it was really helpful. And I feel like right now what we can actually do, because we're gonna have the chance for those who register in September in the autism and sexuality webinar that we're doing 2 days with MD Africa. We have Lynda Jones who will be there doing some consultation using matrix reprinting with some of the parents who register in that webinar. The first 5 parents who register will have a chance to have a consultation with her for 2 days. So I feel like right now we kind of target the subject, and for our English listeners, and then for anybody who are French listener who have a hard time going into actually really understanding the topic today, we're going to have a chance to talk with her again in her next podcast, Bien-être et l'ABA. So we're probably going to have her next week. We're going to try to plan something with her. I'm going to let you guys know. But right now, I'm going to let Lynda conclude this podcast episode for today. And then we'll be thanking her for her participation today. Go ahead, Lynda.
I just wanted to, Anna, because being a parent myself, it's I believe strongly that it has to start with ourselves, for our kids to have a peaceful childhood, but mainly a peaceful adult because themselves are going to be a parents. So I cannot emphasize anymore that, like I said before, what is the best gift you can give to your child is working on yourself. So I am here. I'll be here to take consultation for whoever is interested. And I promise you, it'll be an amazing journey, because every person who has taken a session, they never thought how powerful this can be.
Thank you so much, Lynda, for being with us this morning. I hope that we actually get the chance to talk with you a little bit more in this in deeper time and later time, I should say, and deeper into the subject. But I feel like we went over what was matrix reprinting today and how we can actually use it as a behavior therapist, and why is it so important for even our clientele in Africa, because we can see right now with her that Europe and especially France are asking for this new therapy service. So if you have any further question, please check Mental Disorders Awareness Africa at gmail.com, or check our website www.mdaafricatherapy.com. Thank you so much again, Lynda, and I'll see you again. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, look at the time. And for everyone who actually stayed with us for this new episode of the Briefing Zone for Autism and Learning Disabilities. Have a great day. Bye.